Are you ready? Welcome to the Think Millions podcast, a channel where you get an unfiltered, raw, and authentic conversation about the challenges of being an entrepreneur and tips and tricks on how you can scale your business to the next level. If you are looking to scale your business, then you're in the right place. Introducing our host, Alexa D'Agostino.
Hello and welcome to Think Millions. Today we have a really interesting guest. You know me, I love bringing people on the show that not only have walked the walk, there's a lot of people that talk the talk but don't walk the walk. And so I always bring on guests that have actually walked the walk and have, done $1 million plus, have actually closed deals, have exited companies. And I think it's great for you guys to see that. But I also love bringing people on that have a very different perspective than me. And today we have that. And so I'm really excited because I'm going to have somebody challenge me today a little bit on my thinking, which I think is great. So today we have Jermane Cheathem. He's a business strategist, entrepreneur, world traveler who has built a reputation for helping sales professionals and entrepreneurs design businesses that run without them, which I think is incredible. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jermane, but you've closed over $50 million in deals, all while living in 40 different countries and working less than 4 hours a day, which is incredible. I'm skeptic, but incredible. He's the founder of Creators Learn and the creator of the Salespreneur Freedom Formula, a system that shows entrepreneurs how to leverage strategic partners who handle 90% of the sales, marketing, branding work so they can focus on freedom and impact. Welcome to the show, Jermane.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here. Looking forward to this challenge.
Yeah, I love having people with different perspectives because at the end of the day, it would be so boring otherwise, right? So I love hearing. So that's incredible. $50 million while traveling the world sounds honestly too good to be true. So what do you say to people like me who's totally skeptic on who thinks that this isn't possible?
Well, I think most people think about sales and entrepreneurship in general from a very traditional lens. They're thinking you need VC backing. You're thinking you need to have brick and mortar, 50 locations. They're thinking you need all these traditional metrics you see on Shark Tank. But if you really zoom out from a sales and a entrepreneurial lens, the way you structure something like this for optimizing and maximizing personal freedom versus maximizing growth at all costs is you focus on what's the highest leverage possible service to sell. And then when you figure out that one thing, then the next question is what's the highest leverage individual to sell that service to? And then once you figure out that, then you figure out how can I get strategic partners to bring me those clients, pre-sell my service for me so I don't do anything. And that's how you do that and build a business that gives you that time, financial, and location freedom.
So your motto is life short, build businesses that run without you. So what moment in your life did you have that realization that freedom had to come first?
Well, when I was making 300 cold calls a day, banging my head against the wall, realizing I die, what am I doing with my life? It doesn't make sense. Like at the end of the day, if I am building a business, the only reason I'm building a business is make as much money as quickly as possible to give me freedom of my day so I can enjoy the rest of my life before I die. And so that made me rethink what I was doing from a cold call perspective of how can I leverage other people's networks and get them to sell my product for me. I was in financial services. And so I was trying to get into the doctors' offices and offer my financial services to the doctors. And I was just wasting my time with these cold calls. So instead, I stepped back and thought from a strategic lens, okay, let me just get in front of people that already have doctors that actually need my financial services and they can bring me their pre-sold deals. And so I just connected with medical device salespeople, and they would bring me doctor after doctor that needed my financing to sell their devices. And so this is what I mean by lining up the win-win-win partnerships where literally they do the marketing, the selling, and the branding for me. 90% of the deals when they hit my inbox, they're done. I don't do anything. I don't have to make any phone calls. I don't have to send any emails. They're just signed. And so that's what I mean. Where's the highest leverage? Actual product or service, the people, and the strategic partners.
Well, what's interesting is, I think most people think that sales requires long hours, endless calls. And what you did is you flipped the script. You said, no, I'm not going to waste my time doing all these calls. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be strategic and I'm going to build partnerships that sell for me. And some of the most successful entrepreneurs, I'm right now part owner in a venture capital, and this is exactly what we did. We built an entire affiliate network that sell for us. And so, yeah, you might think, okay, I got to give a little bit up to them in order for me to have this army. But now you're not out, like you said, doing 300 calls a day, and you're actually being smart. It's so silly, but I go back to the work harder, not smarter, or work smarter, not harder, phrase. It's so true. And it's just such a simple thing, but people always think that you have to do X to get Y, and that's not always the case. So I love that you thought out of the box. How can I do this in a way that's more strategic and less time consuming on me, but actually has better results? And I think that's incredible. So when you think about working abroad, like I know for me, like if I was like traveling the world, I see these folks that travel abroad and they're traveling and they're living this like great lifestyle, which isn't for everybody. Not everybody wants to do that, right? Some people want to have a family, or, some people want to travel. Some people want to be on yachts all day. Everybody has a different way. So your way might not be someone else's way, but I would get so distracted traveling the world. But at the same time, for me, I would say when I was 18, I went to Thailand for the very first time. And I don't know why my wife thought that was the best first trip for us to take, was a 24-hour flight to Thailand, but it was. And that began our traveling. And so every year we'd go to 3 to 4 different countries, but we would actually stay in the country. Like we would actually stay there for like 3 to 4 weeks and really live the culture. And I definitely think that traveling changed my perspective on so many things. And I think a large reason why I have certain perspectives now is because I'm well traveled. So, in your opinion, in traveling to all these countries and living in over 40 countries while running your businesses, how do you feel that it's actually shaped the way that you approach entrepreneurship?
I think the way it's actually shaped me probably the most is I see these patterns. It's mostly pattern matching, where I see these patterns in business and sales in general. No matter what country you go to, it's all the same. It's not like a unique US strategy or a unique Japanese strategy. It's a people centric strategy. And if you realize business runs off people, not off businesses, you kind of realize the most important asset you have is other people. And so the first person that matters the most is you, obviously, because like if you aren't clear on where you want to go and what you want to build and who you actually want to become and impact you have in this lifetime, because it all ends, then you don't really know what the next step is. There's no clarity. So the travel just kind of opens your mind to like perspectives that might be different from the outside looking in, but once you get inside of it, because you're in their culture, like you said, you're slow traveling, you're staying at places for a month, 2 months, 3 months at a time, you start to be ingrained in the culture and the understanding that you realize, oh, it's exactly the same as US or Canada, the UK, or whatever it might be. It just looks a little nuanced, but the principles are the same. The psychology of trust is the same. Like psychology doesn't change from continent to continent. And so if you can just leverage psychology in your business, it makes life so much more fun, your partnerships more fun, and like doing business together more fun. And everyone's winning.
So let's break this down a little bit more. So you're saying that you've closed tens of millions of dollars of deals without chasing leads and through strategic partners and letting them do 90% of the work. So I want to break this down a little bit further. So I'm starting a business. Where do I even begin? Like, where do I find these people? What's the process?
Well, so first let's think about, okay, for example, let me give you a simple example everyone can understand. If you are a weight loss coach, this is everyone can understand this, and you're looking for clients, how do you find these clients? It's like a needle in a haystack. You don't know who wants to lose weight, who wants to get in shape. You have no clue. But instead, you would just think, okay, holistically, who already has people that want to like look their best? And if you think holistically, and these people have to have money to pay for your service, because you're not selling cheap products. If you want to have leverage, you have to sell very expensive things. And so the people that would have these high net worth weight loss clients would be high end corporate dating coaches, because all their clients want to look their best, feel their best, get the best result from their dating services. So you go to the dating coaches and say, listen, I'm going to give all your clients 60 days of free training. And at the end of the day, those clients are probably going to sign up for your bigger, longer term package afterwards. But the dating coach gets goodwill by you offering your services to their clients for free. So, and it makes the dating coach's actually product better and more sticky because their clients have better results because their clients feel better and look better and lose weight. So again, it's a win-win-win setup. So these dating coaches bring you deal after deal, client after client. You're not chasing any of them. You're not doing any marketing. You're not doing any branding, because the psychology of trust is, if the dating coach brings you into their corporate executive that needs to lose 20 pounds and put on some muscle for his dates, then you don't have to sell. They just sign. So it's like stepping back from a strategic lens. Who already has a network of your ideal client in their sphere of influence, has their trust, and you just infiltrate that influence, and you get all the benefits, and everyone wins in the process.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that saying. It's like, where do your people live? And everybody immediately thinks online, right? They're like, oh, they're on Reddit. They're on, like, I think the way you're thinking about it is going back more to the traditional route, right? To me, I feel like the internet has complicated sales. Everyone says it's simplified. I actually think the opposite. Everyone's like, oh, I could just put a digital media advertisement out and I could find my specific people, but there's no trust there. So now you're going after these cold people who you have to sell your services to that don't have any trust in you, where your method is, I'm going to go to a trust factor and a point of source that has trust already, where it makes the sale so much easier. And it's a win for them. It's a win for me. And now I'm working a hell lot less because I've pretty much cut my entire sales cycle out. So now my question to you goes, obviously there is risk doing this too, right? Because if you set up, let's say 3, 4 affiliate partners who are funneling and you lose 1 or 2 of them, that now create a little bit of risk. So how do you mitigate against that?
Well, the smartest thing to do is leverage the partnerships you already have to find other partners. That's what I did in my financial services business. I would literally leverage one person that was sending me deals through the rest of their sales force. So I get the rest of the sales force sending me deals. And then people from that sales force would leave and start their own companies, or leave and go to a different company. And they would bring me along to this new company to do all their financing as well. So what you do is you basically leverage any relationships you currently already have that are sending you business, and you find out who else they know that does the same thing. Because everyone in industries flock together. They hang out together, and you can do this either through LinkedIn. There's ways you can strategically partner through LinkedIn. That's one way, but there's also different ways. Like, for example, I had a client. He coached startup founders, SaaS mostly startup founders, from a mindset standpoint, because they're stressed, they're worried, they're not sleeping, and he wanted to he helps them with their mindset to make sure they're clear and they're steady. But he was struggling to find these guys, these startup founders, and I said, well, who has the most vested interest in startup founders being successful? And he couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, who's funding these people? These are investors. These are VCs. And the VCs don't want their investment to go to zero because the startup founder's mind is not screwed on right. He's willing to he or she's probably willing to invest, 10, 20, 30, 50 grand to make sure this startup founder is clear, focused, in a sound mind, to make sure this VC doesn't lose all his money. So your actual, and I call these MVPs, most valuable partners, are these VC investors, because you pitch it to them. And it's almost a no-brainer for them. It's like, yeah, that's probably one of the main reasons some of these businesses fail, these startups, because we weren't thinking clearly in the first 12 to 18 months, because the founder wasn't thinking clearly. So there's different ways to skin this cat, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is finding most valuable partners, and never sell to who you're actually trying to sell to. You sell to the partners.
So going back to traveling the world, freedom, lifestyle, how do you measure success today? Is it deals closed? Is it lifestyle freedom? Is it something else entirely? Is it a mix of everything? In your opinion, what's the measurement of success?
There's only one measurement of success for me personally, is, do I wake up every day excited about the day?
Hmm.
Am I excited about the opportunity that is at my feet right now? Am I excited about the moment I'm living in? Am I excited about being alive? Do I feel grateful? Do I feel at peace? Do I feel happy from a lens of enthusiasm? That's success. That's what we're all chasing. Like you think the boat, you think the house, you think the yacht, you think these things are going to get you happiness. But I learned a long time ago, once you get them, you realize that wasn't it. And you get the next thing, that wasn't it. And so you're just searching, searching, searching. And you realize all we're chasing is peace, just enjoying our time while we're here. And so that's my measurement of success. Am I excited? Am I grateful? Am I enjoying the moment? And am I trying my best? And at the end of the day, the fruits of that labor will take care of themselves. Usually 10, 100x what you actually make plan for. Because actually, when you think from that lens of like abundance and like gratitude and just the opportunity to like, let me try to serve to the best of my ability, make sure everyone's winning, and then let me just lay my head down at night and sleep in peace because I left it all on the field. That's how you win. And you actually, that's why I don't believe in goals. I believe in processes. And so you actually execute on the process, on the habit, on that, you can far exceed any goal you ever try to put on a piece of paper.
I love that. It's interesting too because you talked to me 5 years ago and I had a very different perspective on wealth. And I always thought that rich people wanted to talk about getting richer. And what's interesting is when I started hosting these wealth mastery summits and the people that were coming were more and more successful. I mean, we had $14 billion in the room and literally one of my wealth mastery summits. And that exact meeting, actually, what was interesting is nobody wanted to talk about wealth. They wanted to talk about impact and significance and things. Literally, the richest guy in the room, he was worth about $4 billion, stood up. He goes, guys, we're all rich. Why don't we talk about like impact? How can we all make an impact together? And everybody was like, yeah. So it's actually interesting too. It's like the richer, personally, the more wealthier I got, the less I wanted to look wealthy. And the people that look wealthy half the time aren't wealthy, which I find quite interesting. I even look in my neighborhood and some of the folks that are driving like, $150,000 Lamborghinis or BMWs or Audis. I'm driving around in a Ford, like I don't care anymore. You get to a point where I agree with you. Like, I want to spend time with my kids. I want to be happy. I want to get up and I want to smile every day. And if buying the $150,000 Lamborghini makes you happy, like go for it. That's fine. But that kind of stuff to me is trivial. It doesn't make me happy. Seeing my 1-year-old and him learning to say mommy and going to Disney with my kids and that experience is what makes me happy and what drives me. And so I love what you said. I agree. I think it's how happy are you really in your life? I love that that's really the true measurement of success. That's fantastic. So I have a fun question for you. What's your favorite country that you ever visited?
Oh, that's a loaded question. That's hard. There's so many different nuanced things that you like about each country. You really can't pick one. If you put a gun to my head, I had to live one place for the rest of my life. Um, to be honest with you, I'd probably live in the United States of America.
Interesting. All right,
Yeah,
there you go.
because it's such a unique place compared to
Yeah.
everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. I think until you actually travel abroad and see what we have here, it's hard to understand. Right.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, Jermaine, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. I think, for everybody listening, at the end of the day, the biggest things I want you to take away with is work smarter, don't work harder. As Jermaine said, leverage other people, leverage partnerships, leverage relationships to help sell for you rather than going out and spending all your time doing sales, I think sales is a really important skill set. I do think that it's important that you understand how to do that. But at some point when you're trying to grow and you're running out of time, you only have so many time in the hours in the day. You've got to be more efficient with your time. And so I love the message. And I know that there's a hell lot more that, Jermaine, you have in your salespreneur freedom formula. And so I'm going to put the links in the bio, in the show notes for everybody to go check out Jermaine's socials and also his two organizations so that you can see. So if you're looking for some help and you want to learn more about his sales and marketing and branding strategies that he has that's worked to give him that freedom and impact to be able to travel 40 countries and still do $50 million in deals. If he could do it, you could do it too. If I could do it, you could do it. And that's the great thing about this. We live in a country where everybody can do this, which is great. We live in a world where you can go out and do the same things that we're doing. It's every single person listening can do this and you could do it too. So thank you, Jermaine, and everybody listening. I will see you next week.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Think Millions podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate that effort, and we'll catch you in the next episode.